Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 9. Prahlad pacifies the Lord with prayers. Text number 50. Tate Ratama. Tate Ratama Namak Stuti Karma Puja. Tate Ratatama Namak Stuti Karma Puja. Karma Smritis Charanayo Shravanam Katayam Samsevaya Tvaiva Viniti Saran Angaya Kim Bhaktim Janak Paramahangsakato Labeta Tate Ratama Namak Suti Karma Puja Karma Smritis Charnayo Shravanam Katayam Samsevaya Tvayamani Vineti Saran Angaya Kim Bhaktim Jana Paramahangsakato Labeta Tate Ratama Namastuti Karma Puja Karma Smritis Charnayo Shravanam Katayam Samsevaya Tvaivineta Sarangaya Kim Bhaktim Jana Paramahangsakato Labeta Tate Katam Tritis Charnayo Shavanam Katayam Samsevaya Tvaivineta Sarangaya Kim Bhaktim Jana Paramahangsakato Labeta Mataji Tate Ritama Namasruti Karma Puja Karma Smritis Charnayo Shavanam Katayam Samsevaya Tvaimineta Sharangaya Kim Bhaktim Jana Paramahangsakato Labeta Tat. Didn't get much reaction to that one. Therefore, Te unto you, Arhatama, O Supreme, of all worshipable persons. Namaha, respectful obeisances. Stuti Karma Puja, worshipping your Lordship by offering prayers and other devotional activities. Karma, activities being dedicated to you. Smriti, constant remembrance. Charanayo, of your lotus feet. Shravanam, always hearing. Katayam, in topics about you. Samsevaya, such devotional service. Tvai, unto you. Vina, without. Iti, thus. Sat Angaya, having 6 different parts. Kim, what, how? Bhaktim, devotional service. Jana, a person. Paramahansa Gatau, obtainable by the Paramahansa. Laveta, may obtain. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O the best of all persons, to whom prayers are offered, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, because without rendering 6 kinds of devotional service unto you, offering prayers, dedicating all the results of activities, worshiping you, working on your behalf, always remembering your lotus feet, and hearing about your glories, who can achieve that which is meant for the Paramahansas? It's a question. Purport. The Vedas enjoin Nayam Atma Pravachenena Labona Madaya Nabahuna Shrutena. One cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead simply by studying the Vedas and offering prayers. Only by the grace of the Supreme Lord can one understand Him. The process of understanding the Lord, therefore, is bhakti. Without bhakti, simply following the Vedic injunctions to understand the absolute truth will not be helpful at all. The process of bhakti is understood by the Paramahansas, one who has accepted the essence of everything. The results of bhakti are reserved for such a Paramahansa, and this stage cannot be obtained by any Vedic process other than devotional service. Other processes such as Jnana and Yoga can be successful only when mixed with bhakti. When we speak of Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Dhyana Yoga, the word yoga indicates bhakti. Bhakti Yoga or Buddha Yoga executed with intelligence and full knowledge is the only successful method of going back home, back to Godhead. One wants to be liberated from the pangs of material existence, should take to devotional service for quick attainment of this goal. Taterhatama namashuti karma puja karma smritis turnayo shavanam katayam samsevaya tvayivineta sat angaya bhkim bhaktim jana paramahansa gato labeta. Therefore, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, the best of all persons to whom prayers are offered, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, because without rendering 6 kinds of devotional service unto you, offering prayers, dedicating all the results of activities, worshiping you, working on your behalf, always remembering your lotus feet and hearing about your glories, who can achieve that which is meant for the Paramahansas? Namo Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Bacharane Nirvisesha Srinivadi Paskatyade Sitarane. In case anyone's wondering why they haven't seen Krishna, because Krishna explains it in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Naham Prakasha Sarvasha Yoga Maya Samavrita Mudo Yam Nabijananti Loka Yam Ajin Avyayam. That I'm never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent, for them I'm covered by my creative potency, Yoga Maya, and so the deluded world knows me not, when unborn and inexhaustible. So Krishna has his covering potency. Covering means covering us. We're covered. Krishna is not uncovered. He's not covered. Our consciousness is covered. And therefore we see things according to our modes of nature we're situated under. We don't see things as they are. We see things as we think they are. And then when we act, in a certain way, then material nature reciprocates with us and confirms our delusions. The story is that there was one bull, and he was living in the kingdom of a lion. The lion was very old, and they made friends and alliance with each other. They wouldn't attack each other. But one day there was a drought, and it lasted for a long time, and the food became very scarce. And the jackals, who were also part of the kingdom, they went to the lion and said, it's about time to kill the bull. But the lion said, how can I do that? I made an alliance with him. He said, we heard rumors. The bull is out to get you. He's out to kill you. How is that possible? So then the jackals went to the bull and said, we just came from the lion. He has plans to kill you. Watch out. He wants to eat you. No, it's possible. We're friends. We made an alliance. No. Never trust an animal. So then the bull went to see what was happening with the lion. And when the lion saw the bull coming at him, he thought, oh, the jackals are right. This guy's going to come and try to kill me. So he became very angry. Stood up, he made like he was going to attack the bull, and the bull said, oh, the jackals are right. Look at that lion. He looks pretty disturbed. I'm sure he wants to eat me. So he put his horns down, and there was a big fight. The lion killed the bull, and the jackals ate him. So whatever you believe, material nature will reciprocate and confirm to you. If we believe that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then Krishna will personally reciprocate with us. And if we believe that there's nothing beyond the three modes of material nature, then the three modes, whatever nature we're under, then it will reciprocate. And it'll confirm, and because we get confirmation, we become convinced, and we continue to act in the same way. Therefore it says, Te yesham antagatam papam, jaranam punya karmanam, te dvanvamo and nirmuktva, bhajante mam drida vrataha. That those who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful reactions are completely eradicated, are free from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. In other words, unless we're free from the fog, as Prabhupada was saying in one lecture I heard today, we're in this fog called illusion. Unless the fog dissipates and we wake up to see things as they are, then we're living in our imaginations. Because in the fog, you can't see anything. So what you think you're seeing is just your imagination. Nothing is clear. Therefore, there's a process of getting out of the fog. That process is a gradual process of purification by ordinary methods, beginning with those who have acted piously in previous lives, Krishna says. Piously means getting free, especially from the four pillars of sinful activity, illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling, which is the last thing anyone wants to get free from in the material consciousness. Materialists are not anxious to become celibate, nor they don't have classes at the university on celibacy nowadays. Some idea of vegetarianism, but because they're deluded by the modes, they become vegans. Every time they see a cow, they get disturbed. They're supposed to want to protect the cow, but actually they're envious of the cow. Why? Because if you offer the milk of the cow to the Supreme Lord, then the cow gets benefited. But they don't know that. And therefore they think, assuming we don't drink the milk of the cow, then they'll protect the cow. I haven't noticed many people protecting cows nowadays because there are so many vegans. Matter of fact, if they can't get the milk and make money from the milk, they'll just kill the cow anyhow. they'll just kill it sooner. And what to speak of the other animals, they're destroying everything, killing everything. Not only the animals, but the plants, every species of life, so many species of life who so-called gone extinct because they're envious of all the living entities. What to speak of the animals, their own children they'll kill. They'll kill people in other countries. And of course we know intoxication is not exactly prohibited in most places in the world. If you told people we don't eat coffee, we don't take coffee or tea, because we do take tea, but we don't tell people that. Coffee, tea, probably was said tea. I guess probably was referring to tea with caffeine in it. We don't take any intoxication, and we don't gamble. We don't say we don't speculate, because we do speculate. But anyway, we're not supposed to speculate either. In any case, people don't believe that this is possible. I remember when I became a vegetarian in 1968, there weren't so many vegetarians where I was. And people thought it was a fad. Oh yeah, sure, you're a vegetarian. Yeah. How many months? Because it was hard to be a vegetarian. I didn't have a cookbook. So all I did, I was living in Buffalo, which was much colder than it is here. It was, it would get down to minus Fahrenheit, get down to like minus 30 degrees. And on the Great Lakes with the wind chill factor, get down to a minus 100. It is really cold. Matter of fact, if you go outside when it's minus 100, you die because your lungs will freeze when you breathe in the air. So I was there, and I was vegetarian. I decided to become a vegetarian. And there was nothing to eat. So I was eating bananas and raisins. I was a fruitarian first. You can imagine what kind of bananas there are in the middle of winter in Buffalo. The raisins were good. So I had squash bananas, I had fried bananas, I had cooked bananas, and raisins. That went on for a few months, but then I discovered what was called macrobiotic diet, which was like a relief because at least it was cooked. Cooked carrots. Still eating cooked carrots. Anyhow, back then, cooked carrots and brown rice. That was the diet. So needless to say, when I came in contact with the devotees and I had some prasadam, it was I'm still here. I remember one of the devotees offered me banana bread. What's wrong with banana bread? But it was bread, banana bread. I fell in love with the banana bread. I wasn't, there was no principle that 4 or 5 regular principles, vegetarian and only eat fruit. Just the only thing I knew it, or only have brown rice and carrots. This is the only thing I knew how to cook. I knew how to cook other things, but it was just too difficult. In any case, people are not really overwhelmed nowadays. Even if they want to become vegetarians, usually they become vegans, and then they don't take milk products. Because they don't take milk products, their higher brain substances don't develop, and therefore they can't understand even Krishna consciousness either. They think we're in Maya because we take milk. These people are sinful. We saw them actually even eating a sandesh. I can't believe it, they say. Should have them call the police and have them arrested. There's actually, when I spent some time in Thailand, and I visited all the different temples there. Some temples, not all of them, but some temples. And actually in the temples there, they have the story of the Ramayana there. because Ramayana is very popular in Thailand. They have their own version of the Ramayana. In any case, one of the devotees told me that there are two different, everyone who lives in Thailand, all the males there, at a certain time of their life, practically everyone's a Buddhist. So they become a Buddhist monk for some time. Even the king was a Buddhist monk for some time. But there are two classes of Buddhist monks. One are meat eaters, the other are vegetarians. But there were only 100 vegetarians amongst the Buddhists. But one day, the Buddhists who are meat eaters, they had all the vegetarian Buddhists arrested and put into jail for being vegetarian. The king pardoned them, though, because he thought it wasn't such a big offense, being a vegetarian. So, people have no idea what sinful is. Prabhupada was saying that even the Lord Jetland, Marquis of Jetland, that was a governor of Bengal, when Prabhupada's godbrother went there and he talked to him, the Marquis of Jetland asked his godbrother, "Can you make me into a Brahmin?" And the godbrother of Prabhupada said, "Yes, of course, no problem. You just have to give up these 4 sinful activities." And the Marquis of Jetland said, "Impossible." So Prabhupada said, even a gentleman, a respectable gentleman such as the Marquis of Jetland, he said, "Impossible." So what to speak of understanding Krishna? People can't even give up sinful activity. Even if they get some knowledge, even if they hear, it won't have any effect because they won't be able to understand it. Because to understand this knowledge, it requires spiritual intelligence, spiritual realization. And one cannot understand this knowledge being covered by the modes of nature, especially ignorance and passion. But if one can follow cleanliness, austerity, mercy, truthfulness, then he can advance towards the second stage. From religious principles means that one acts piously. Practically the only pious activity in this age is Harinam Sankirtan. Otherwise, acting piously, performing religious rituals, Agnihotra, Yagya, Ashvamedha Yagya, or whatever. People are not performing sacrifice in this age. They don't act according to Varna and Ashram. They don't even know what that means. They think it's a caste system. Even in India, they think I'm born into a certain family, and therefore that's my caste. So they don't even know what their duties are. So there's no question of acting piously, but if one can act piously, then the next stage is conquer sinful reactions. Because even if we're acting piously, there are still desires flowing through the mind, either pious or impious, which are reactions to our past activities. And they keep us forgetful of Krishna. So one has to learn how to tolerate them and not become disturbed by them. And instead, accept devotional service. So that's the next thing. If one can just become aloof from the reactions of our past activities and accept devotional service, then one can rise up to the knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and then finally remain in trance, thinking about Krishna. So that's the path of coming to the platform of devotional service, pure devotional service, or pure Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Gyan and yoga, karma yoga, and everything else, they're all meant to help us become Krishna conscious. And if we do that, then we become on the level of Paramahamsas. Paramahamsa doesn't simply mean externally accepting the dress of a renunciate. It means always be thinking about Krishna in devotion. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Naiva kinchit karomiti yuktam manyate tattvavet. That a person who's actually in knowledge, he knows that he's not the doer. So anything we do in the material world without Krishna consciousness is just external. And everything we do in Krishna consciousness is spiritual. And when one becomes spiritual, brahmanyadaya karmani sangam tyaktva karotiya lipitena sapapena padmat patrami vambasa. Person, brahmanyadaya karmani sangam tyaktva, one who gives up the results of his activities, is not affected by sinful action, just like the lotus leaf is untouched by water. The lotus leaf has some kind of sticky substance on its leaf. So even if water goes onto the leaf, it just slides off. So similarly, one who's actually absorbed in Krishna consciousness, he's not attracted to materialistic activities, materialistic ideas, or materialistic mood, because he's experiencing higher taste. He has another transcendental experience, emotions, perceptions, and therefore he understands that why should I try to enjoy a shadow when there's actually, I'm in the reality. If one is actually on top of a tree eating the apples and he sees the reflection in the water, he's not very likely to dive in the water to get the reflections because he already has the real substance, namely the apple. So the material world is an attempt to see the happiness, opportunities for happiness, where they don't exist. But if one actually is experiencing the real happiness, then one will not look for happiness elsewhere, because one has actually got their substance. So karma is meant to teach us at least karma yoga, that everything here belongs to Krishna. As I said before, jnana yoga is to find out what Krishna wants us to do, and bhakti yoga means to do it to please Krishna. So that's the complete yoga. And one who's actually doing things to please Krishna, then he's no longer interested in pleasing the gross and subtle senses, because by trying to please this material existence, by trying to please our senses and mind, material existence, we get so-called happiness and a lot of pain. Even the happiness Prabhupada always says is also pain. But anyhow, we take it as happiness. And if one is actually in conscious contact with Krishna, the source of unlimited pleasure, affection, love, etc., then one experiences unlimited happiness within, and is no longer interested in the external happiness. This is a famous verse. I just forgot the first word. Actually, it's in Bhagavad Gita, but someone took the Bhagavad Gita away. Did you sell it? Yat pada pankaj. See, as soon as I touch the Bhagavad Gita, I remember the verse. So powerful. Yat pada pankaja palasa vilasya bhaktya kama shraya grahitam gratanti santa tavan nariktam yatiyo piruda shuto ganas tamarunam badanam shuto ganas something. So, chapter 5. Shrutogana samarunam bhajavasudevam. So the idea is we should worship the lotus feet of Krishna, which can slash the hard knot of material existence. That even the great yogis and the ascetics and the meditators, they can be easily deviated by even a little thought of sense gratification. But if one is actually absorbed in Krishna consciousness, Shuddho ganastamurunam bhajavasudevam, yat pada pankaja palasa vilasi bhakta, one should take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, whose feet are just like lotus petals. Yat pada pankaja palasa vilasi kama shrayam grahitam ugrayanti shanta, which can cut to piece all the reactions, all our material desires. Yat pada pankaja palasa vilasya bhaktya kama shrayam grahitam ugrayanti shanta tavan narikta yatayo payuruda, that even great sages and saints trying to be absorbed in meditation sometimes shuto ganas tamarunam, they sometimes get overwhelmed by material desire. So, Bhaja Vasudevam, just worship Krishna's lotus feet that's the only way of getting free from this hard knot of material desires, which are allurements and which we're easily fall victim to without taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet and his service. After all, it's Krishna's illusory energy, and even Shiva, Lord Shiva, when Krishna appeared as Mohini, Murti, Shiva, who's the topmost Vaishnava. Of course, Mohini Murti is the internal energy. She's Krishna. But just to show us how easily it is to get allured by material attraction, then Mohini Murti appeared before Lord Shiva said to Krishna, as usually people make a mistake and say, can you show me Murti? I heard that Mohini Murti deluded great sages. Can I see that form of you? And then Krishna gave him a bad face and said, all right, let's see what happens. And she appeared, and Lord Shiva, of course, no one can be more an expert seductress than Krishna can be. He's seen it all, we could say. And he appeared, and he attracted Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva started to run after her madly. And he happened to run past all the hermitages of all the different sages. And we're thinking, wow, my God, what happened to Lord Shiva? We're all trying to meditate on him to protect us. And he himself is just overwhelmed by this lady. Maybe it's not going to work for us either. In any case, the rest is history. Finally, Lord Shiva got a little surrendered. Of course, he was attracted by Krishna in a form, but still, it is a lesson for us that we have to, the only shelter is really ultimately Krishna. Everything else is not going to work. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
Hare Krishna, hvala Maharaj na lekciji. Imam jedno pitanje. Mnogi bakte i duhovni učitelji ne piju mlijeko, neke proizvode, mliječne proizvode, zbog kao ono, što nije hrimsa mlijeko. Treba da znam, što mi neki pijemo, kako sa to ima razlike, ali ima napraviti neku uvredu, što je mlijeko kao hrimsa, no? Razumiješ?
Okay. What's the question? Who are the real devotees? No, it's not a big thing. I mean, even if they don't drink milk, they eat prasadam anyhow. So, anyhow, people have their sentiments. But generally speaking, Prabhupada, he drank milk. So we can't say Prabhupada was deviating. So at least drinking milk, my point is not so much devotees who choose not to drink milk, but they shouldn't criticize those who are drinking milk. You people are violent, you're hurting the cow. We shouldn't. If there's some sentiment, I'm not going to drink milk because I want to protect the cow, well, that's all right. But still, if they're pujari, they should, my God, they're offering a sweet to the deity, I better throw it out. I don't want to contaminate the deities. Oh, we still have to do our service and offer the milk to Krishna. Someone will drink it, hopefully. Anything else? Yes.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for lecture. So I wonder, when doing Sankirtan, So I realized that when I try to give out the books, that in more than 50%, I need to persuade people somehow, because otherwise they don't
Only
give.
50%. This must be a pretty pious country. When I went out, I had 99.99% of people.
So I thought being among those who take book, it's like, if I give out 10 books, maybe 6 books, I need to persuade.
Well, that's pretty good. What are the other 4? They just happily take the book without any persuasion?
Yeah, exactly. So my question would be like, if I don't persuade, then maybe just 2, 3, 4 will take. And
because you're supposed to persuade. That's what persuasion is meant for. Yeah. Persuade people to take books.
Yeah, but then I wonder about the result, because out of those 60%, some take because they understand the message, some take because they maybe like the relationship, some take, and then there is worse, and then the others take because they just feel guilty, and the others take because they just want to get rid of you. So then I wonder, of course, my focus.
Well, because we don't want people, to take the book and think, "Why I hate that guy," couldn't get rid. That wouldn't be. The other ones are all right though. Yeah. But even if they take it somehow or another and they resent it, if they give some money and the money's used in Krishna's service, then they'll be benefited.
Yeah. So then my question would be if some, of course, our focus is that we want to leave positive. Impression.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
But anyhow, we're not Superman.
But sometimes, yes, sometimes you can sense that someone, okay, at one sense he's happy, and then at one sense, he's upset a little bit, he feel okay,
Yeah, anyhow, all these emotions last around 5 seconds.
Yeah.
People can't remember anything, even if they're happy for 5 seconds, and they'll walk away and they'll think about something else, and they'll be in a completely different mood in 5 seconds. Yeah. So it's not that we're so powerful that throughout the rest of the day they just think about us.
So eventually, for this person who took and just to get rid of you, it's better that he gave some donation and took the book than.
Yeah, because they'll never get rid of you now that they got the book. Every time you look at the book, they'll remember you. So that's good. Remember devote. Otherwise, what are they going to remember? What is the alternative? What is the great thing they're going to do with their lives if they didn't get rid of us? If we just say, yeah, go ahead, what would be the great, wonderful thing that would have happened to them? As if we're the worst thing that ever happened to them. The worst thing in their lives. They had one opportunity not to meet Yamaraj, but they got rid of us. So now they have full opportunity to meet a Mahajan. We're not exactly the most inauspicious thing that ever happened to them. We're probably the only auspicious thing that happened to most people. I remember one time the devotee said, Prabhupada, because in the airports, sometimes people would take a book and they put it in the garbage. And they told that to Prabhupada. Prabhupada said they put their own children in garbage. What to speak of our books? Anyhow, they used to put it in the garbage, and then the janitors used to pick them up and sell them back to us. So there's no loss. It's a good business. Everyone was happy about it. But we shouldn't, we should try to present it as nicely as possible. And we shouldn't twist people's arms physically in order to take the book. But if there's a little persuasion, a little pressure, and they take it on that, it's not so bad. They once had they call it cartoons, I don't know what they call them here. But there was one man in the airport, he's walking down the airport, the aisle, and then another devotee, a book distributor, big book with the book in his hand, puts out his hand to stop the man, to shake his hand. And you see the man is innocent. He puts out his hand to shake the book distributor's hand. They shake each other's hand, and there's a big, dust big cloud that forms, and you see the man's arm is out here and his leg is out there. And then the final one is the man's lying on the ground unconscious. And there's a book stuffed in his mouth. And the boy's walking away counting the Lakshmi. And Prabhupada saw that. They showed it to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada just started to laugh. That was our reputation back then. Not undeserved, by the way, but anyhow, that was our public presentation sometimes. All right. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande.